My name is Bakandaba. I prefer being called by Binang. I am 21 and I was based in Gaborone Block 9 during the lockdown.
My name is Cindy Sean Sibanda. I am 22 years old. I identify as queer, and I was based in Khabani during lockdown.
My name is Sheila. I'm 22 years old. I'm based in Gaborone, and during lockdown, I was in a shelter, in a women's shelter.
So the biggest challenge during lockdown was food, money, because we couldn't move anywhere. So the little food that we actually stocked in was just not enough to carry us through a whole 2 months. So yeah, that was my biggest challenge.
I think I didn't think there were any challenges, but as the lockdown phase continued, I saw myself and my mental health deteriorating, and this was a major concern for the people whom I was staying with, and it actually led me to a point where I wanted to commit suicide, and it was very alarming.
My biggest challenges during lockdown would probably be I had a lot of emotional struggles. I actually kind of broke down emotionally, and yeah, well, I had nowhere to stay, so that would explain it.
For lack of a better word, I'd say it was very, very depressing, because you're stuck in one place, and being stuck for me as an individual just depresses me, because I love movement, I love progression. So when there's nothing happening in my life, I feel like I'm not doing anything. I feel like it's not worth living. So it was kind of hard to keep my mental state kind of stable, because there was nothing, and we're actually wondering what's gonna happen. Are we ever gonna see the light of day? Is anything gonna get better or keep getting worse? So that was kind of frightening.
So what had happened was that I was experiencing allergic attacks, right? My housemate told me to go to the clinic, right? And then I went to the clinic. It wasn't really by choice, because I was forced to go to the clinic. And when I went to the clinic, I was given a couple of medicine, allergics and paracetamol. And then working from the clinic, I was like, fuck, I literally don't wanna be living like this anymore. I wanna die, and the quickest way to die is by drinking allergics, because I know it made you drowsy, and that had remained in my head from working from Julia Molefe till I got home. And when I got home, I wasn't really thinking about anything. I just wanted to make sure that I drank the pills, overdosed them, and then get it done with.
It was honestly hard, especially because I never really thought I could get help from people like counselors and all that. It was a bit difficult for me to actually talk to someone, because I grew up as this person who just bottles up things, and I'm pretty good at that. At least I thought I was pretty good at that until I finally broke down. And it was sad that it actually happened a few days just before lockdown, so it was kind of terrible because breaking down emotionally and having to deal with lockdown and being homeless and all that, it was just too much for me.
The best and simplest way that I was able to cope was through poetry, because I'm a poet as well. So having to share my poems and interacting with other poets during lockdown via either WhatsApp or Facebook, I think was kind of a comfort for me. So during this lockdown, we were able to share poems on COVID-19, our experiences, and also on the Beijing 25. So doing that poetry online sort of event was kind of helpful, because we had many poets from different areas of Gaborone and surrounding areas sharing their poems. And I think it was not only uplifting for me but for them also, because we were just stuck with nothing to do, and actually having to do that gave us some hope and some light and some inspiration. Yeah.
I think sorry. I think it's so hard. I think the thought that remained with me was basically just make sure nobody knows that you're trying to kill yourself.
So most of us were struggling before the COVID, but we were able to like try to hustle around, but like with no movement at all. There was nothing to do, and being excluded from all these relief funds or relief measures made it actually worse for us, because it's like we're unnoticed, it's like we don't exist even though we do exist, and that kind of made it worse. So being included in those relief funds, whatever they may be, would have been helpful for us to at least keep our spirits uplifted and actually have some hope in the future, and help us during our mental breakdowns, because most people like lost hope because of the lockdown, and some would end their lives, and some would have to live in situations that they couldn't bear, like go live with their parents that abused them, and that was kind of really hard.
It didn't help having a homophobic parent there to remind you that you're gonna die. Your friend died, you're probably gonna die because homosexuality is a sin. I was grieving. For the first time in my life, I knew what it meant to actually grieve, to actually feel pain because I've lost someone. And most people in times like that, you would actually run to someone close to you, you'd run to your parents, you'd run to your family. But for me, I couldn't. And I remember very clearly running to my parent was more of a last option for me, because I was like, this is too much, the pain is too much, I need to run to someone. And I ran there, and the response I got, well, is what I expected, but then again, what could be done?
For me, it meant so many things. Firstly, I saw a very capable person lose hope simply because of status quo, simply because there are no measures that can actually help the youth in general to cope with unemployment, to cope with depression, and the treatment that especially queer people go through daily in their lives. Kind of shut the light that Bubbly had, because Bubbly was a vibrant person, Bubbly was visionary, but sometimes circumstances that actually we find ourselves facing can actually drown us. And if there's nothing to help us through or any ray of hope, you end up giving up because you just feel like you're a vibrant person with no purpose. So to me it meant that a lot of us are full of fire and full of energy, but because of the society and the world that we live in, that fire is quickly burnt down, and we live our lives thinking we have no purpose when in actual fact there's a lot we can offer to the world. Yeah.
And what is the...
It was really heartbreaking, because for me it was way hard, because this is someone who I knew, like someone I got my strength from, someone who made me wake up and be like, okay, I can face this day because there's someone out there going through the same challenges as me, but he's still holding on. So I can also hold on. And when I met Bubbles, it was like we're just two imperfect human beings going through shit in life, and we actually find the similarity in our problems, and then we're like, okay, you know what, we're gonna go through this together, you see. And the sad part about it is that at least Bubbles got help. I was the part of the friendship which said, I'm not gonna go to counselors, I'm not gonna go to social workers, I'm not gonna go to therapists and all that. And then here comes this human being who's like, I'm gonna go to the counselors, I'm gonna try get help for myself. And they would actually encourage me, like, you need to see a counselor, you need to go to a therapist. And I'm like, no, friend, do that. You come back and tell me what the person was saying, and would actually laugh over it. And for me, this is someone who fought for mental stability. This is someone who fought to be mentally healthy, to be mentally okay. And it still got the best of them. And then here's me, someone who's been trying so much to just hide behind a smiling face and be like, okay, you know what, this person is doing it, I'm gonna do it too. And then you hear that person you are looking up to and be like, I'm gonna be fine. As long as that person is still alive and still surviving this, I'm gonna survive too. And then you hear that the person finally gave in. That is just too heartbreaking, because for me, it gave me the one question: Bubbly's gone, you're probably next.
I think their biggest legacy would be their poetry. That is one thing that Bubbly used to express themselves. Whatever it was, however it is that they were feeling, be it their relationships, be it their family lives, they expressed themselves through their poetry, and they left that imprint with everybody that they came across and everybody that they interacted with. Bubbly would share a poem out of the blue, and just you'd begin discussing it and talking about it. So I think that was their biggest legacy. The other legacy was like the joy that they shared. There was never a dull moment when Bubbly was around. It doesn't matter what kind of person you are, were you an introvert, were you an extrovert, they just find a way to just blend in with you and interact with you in a most deep level that most people wouldn't actually be able to do. Yeah.
I feel like it's important because in a shelter, as much as I got roof over my head, pretty much battled with my mental state alone, because there was no one to understand exactly what I was going through. To them, I was just this person who's there for shelter, this person who needs roof over their head and all that. But what I really needed was someone to be there to tell me that you deserve to be loved. You deserve to have a family that can look past your sexuality, because If you love me, then why can't you love me for who I am? Because some things we can't change them. I hear people talk day and night that you can change it, you cannot change it. Why do you have to beg for people's love? Why do I have to compromise? Why do you have to compromise yourself just so that you can be loved by people? That is not right.
You know, Bubbly was a very close friend of mine, you know. And me hearing about that death was like a part of me shattered, you know. Because at some point we talked a lot, and then they were the one helping me, encouraging me to keep sane. And when I heard that they had taken their lives, it was very painful. It still is, because they are the most important thing in my life, right? And you know, they were like encouraging me to write my feelings down through poetry, because we are both poets. And it felt like it was all too soon, you know. I would never hear Bubbly's voice again. Wait, sorry, excuse me.